All right, welcome to the House of Prayer channel. This is Isaac, and today I have a special guest, and it's Kevin Hardy. He's the Director of Chaplaincy at the International House of Prayer in Kansas City. And in addition to that, he gave oversight to the establishment of a smaller house of prayer. And so he has a lot of experience, I think, for us and for our purpose here. So today, I'm going to ask Kevin a few questions, if that's all right.
That's fine.
All right. So as someone that has experienced both the greater context, mothership, as you might call it, the House of Prayer in Kansas City, and also knows what it's like just getting started and building a smaller context in even a smaller town, what are some pointers to someone that may be wanting to start a house of prayer in their city? Do you have any advice for someone in that situation?
Well, probably the first thing I would say was make sure you're called to do it. Because if you're not called to do it, if you just want to do it because you think it's cool, it's a work of the flesh, and it's not going to work. You'll burn out quick, and it won't stay established. So first and foremost, make sure you're called and that you're certain of that call before you try to establish a house of prayer. Second is you have to have a vision. How are you going to incorporate the body of Christ in that community to help support the call to prayer? Because there are intercessors through every church in those towns that are looking for an avenue. And how do you bring them in? What's your vision? How are you going to express that vision to them to get them involved?
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, I get asked a lot of times, when are you going to be 24/7? Or they assume because we're doing a house of prayer that it's going to be a 24/7 house of prayer, and that's the main vision. And I've found that that's actually counterproductive for us.
That's a rare vision. I thought
it's rare.
It's rare. It really is. I forget the statistics, but there are hundreds of thousands of houses of prayers worldwide, and there are maybe 10,000 that are 24/7.
Sure.
So the vast majority of houses of prayers are 8 hours a week or 10 hours a week, or meeting in the basement once a week. It's not automatically going to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year mandate.
Sure.
That's why you have to make sure that you're called to do it and that you understand the vision. What is God? What's the specific purpose behind your house of prayer that you want to establish?
So, you talked about having a good vision. What else do you find is helpful? What are some pointers you give? Just practical things that you think are key to sustaining and growing in prayer in that context?
A strong leadership team is very important, and having the roles defined within that team, so people know what they are to do when they're in the house of prayer. If you don't, you end up with just chaos and you end up spinning your wheels.
Sure.
So you really have to have a leadership structure established, defined roles, and then the consistency to come, maintain your calling to the house of prayer, and actually show up when you're supposed to be there. So you have to have that consistency of faithfulness to come.
Take your time on the wall.
Take your time on the wall.
So how much time has God called you to do it? Because if you're trying to overshoot that, you probably won't stay consistent.
Correct. Or if you undershoot it, you really become inconsistent.
That's true.
So
That's
you
true.
have to establish, and that's what we do in Kansas City, is we have what's called a sacred trust, and Mike holds the mandate of keeping the fire on the altar burning as a holy mandate.
Sure.
This is what God told him to do, and that's holy. So if we're involved, if we say, hey, I'm buying into your vision, I want to join you, then we have to take that mandate as a holy mandate. So our service becomes holy service, if you will. So we have what's called a sacred trust, which means part of our responsibility is to be in the prayer room 24 hours a week as full-time staff. So we set aside times that we have to be there. Nothing else can get in the way of our sacred trust. We can't schedule meetings. We can't run out and hit the coffee shop. We're in the prayer room. We're engaged. We're praying 24 hours a week at a minimum. We can do more, but those are our scheduled times.
Sure.
So it ensures that the mandate, that the vision actually gets accomplished.
That's awesome.
So that's why the consistency is important.
It's really good advice. So I'm hearing, know you're called to it, have a vision, have a structure around fulfilling that vision, and then have a type of leadership where you're creating opportunities for people to buy in and to follow through with something that's consistent and consistent with the vision, and they're able to do it consistently week in and week out. I think that's good advice. You have anything else for us?
Just press in. Press in. You have to stay in the Word. You have to spend quiet time in the secret place. You have to meditate. You have to build your prayer life in order to help others build theirs.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to build the house of prayer, is to be consistent, be pressing in, eating the scroll is one term we use a lot, and deepening our own walk in prayer. Because if we deepen our own walk, then we can nurture and disciple others in how to do it. That's how you maintain the growth in the house of prayer.
That's good.
All right.
Well, for the sake of our purpose today, we'll keep that conversation short, but I do appreciate Kevin being willing to sit in front of a camera, let me ask him questions, and thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week.